better, I think, every day. Hopefully, it kicks your butt.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah, stay away from family. And Love Fest we had over Christmas is, I'm not sure worth it, but they seem to enjoy it. The ones that didn't have any issues, though.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Well, James, the thing that we're going to be talking about today, let me giving some thought to it. How many have you been to already? Senior leadership.
This is my first one. This was it. This is
And so talk about, there's a different senior leadership. Generally, they have everybody in. We've gone to Atlanta. The last 2 times we went to Dallas. And we're all congregate together. And now we accomplished in 5 hours what it took us 2 days and a lot of travel. And so I myself was very blessed that I didn't have to get on a plane or go to a meeting. So talk about the honor that is bestowed upon you for qualifying to come, and how you don't take it lightly. And I know you don't, because you had to really earn it. You had to fight for it. And how does it feel to be amongst the leadership of the whole company? Not just, you're part of town. And what kind of resolve do you think, James, has come over you now that you see a bigger picture that you can't get unless you're part of this group, as you know? So talk about that, James.
Yeah, first and foremost, yeah, definitely, like you said, Coach, it definitely is an honor. And Primerica is weird because it's like, man, you're happy you're there, but your butt is burning. Always. I don't think that ever goes away, just because you always got somebody beating you or whatever. But I liken it to being in the owners meeting of the NFL. Every year the owners have a meeting. And, to me, it's like, man, finally, okay, I qualify to be amongst the owners out of 688 people out of 135,000. I mean, that's that is more than being in the top 1% of the company, and to be amongst the best. It's just a different game and a different level and a different feel, different attitude and approach. And man, you just, taking it all in. It's like, I'm never, ever, ever not gonna not be a part of this meeting again, because this is where the money is made. I think one thing that really blew me away was all the conversation was how to create wealth for you and your family. It wasn't any rah-rah, any let's pump you up or get you going type of stuff. No, it's like, no, you're here. You're one of the owners of this game that we call Primerica. And so, yeah, it's definitely a huge honor to be invited to that event.
I also like the fact that they didn't talk to you about, James, you should be double digiting. You got to be so far past double digiting. Most people never get past double digiting. They never get up to that starting line. And so you're being challenged to, and you see other people who were where you are now. Because everyone that you admire and you think the world of, and that you put on pedestals, are where you're going to be, and they are where they were where you are now. They had to go through this process, and $250,000 is it, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. It's like a rite of passage that you have to go through, just like you said there. Everybody starts out at the same place. And that's why I think the respect level is so high when you make it there, because everybody knows what you've been through to get to where you are, to get to that point. And it's just the beginning. I think, one thing that, you always have to remember is iron sharpens iron. So, being around those people, it might be this much of a difference of what y'all do and what y'all think like or whatever, but that much of a difference makes all the difference in the world to the results that you're getting and the way you're thinking. Okay, so it isn't necessarily that, guys in there, they know more. It's just they think completely differently about the business. That's why you didn't, like you said, Coach, that's why we didn't talk about, well, you got a double digit to get going, because when you get to that level, you way past, you way beyond that, or what script do I use? It's not that kind of meeting whatsoever.
Well, I also think, James, you're beyond needing to make changes. Now it's, I did what it took to get here. Now I just have to maintain, correct?
Yes, sir. Yep.
I hit those other levels.
Yep. Now it's just a matter of doing more of it and continually growing. Like I said, people don't know more. We like to fall back on that. Like, man, what do I know? What do I know? The more you know, the more you make know, the more you do. You just got to do more of it. The difference between $100,000 earner and $1 million earner is the $1 million earner just done a lot more of the right things to get to where they are.
That's critical, because like Virginia Carter said, variety is a spice of life, but monotony will make you wealthy. And so I know that I don't ask you this anymore because I know the answer. What changes are you going to make after the senior leadership?
Absolutely none. Grind more. What's more activity, more of everything that I'm doing. That's it.
And why is that a lesson to be learned there, James? And how long did it take you to learn that lesson?
I can't really say how long it took me to learn it, but it took a while. But once I got it, I got it. I said, man, you know what? I know what I know. I'm gonna go do what I know. And like I said, I always talk about Jeff Mallard because we didn't know each other very well at all. And Jeff, him and I was talking one day. He said, I don't really know you, but I know how you go run your business. He's like, I know you're very definite on how you gonna do things. Because you're not like most people that come and say, well, how are you doing that? How's this? It's like, you got your play. And he said, I respect that about you. And at that time, we really knew very little about each other. And I thought I walked away from that conversation thinking, man, he really knows me, because, man, I got what I'm going to do. I mean, I know my play. I might tweak a little bit there, but I got my offense. I got my defense. I got my game plan. That's I'm going to do my thing.
Well, I think it's interesting. Most people are still looking for a play to run as if it's been hidden and secret. And I'm looking for the key. Talk about that, James. What is the play you're running that got you to where you are and beyond, and get you to $2 million a year income?
Well, it's just recruiting large numbers. That's the business I'm in. It's recruiting, developing people. That's it. I mean, I decided that's how I wanted to build a distribution business. That's the business that I'm in. And you can actually be bad at everything else, but man, if you get large numbers of recruiting going on, it seems to work out. New people bringing new people. That's my business. So. So when they say, one of the things going back to the senior leadership meeting, when you look at the compensation, they paid $970 million last year, and $550 million of it came from life insurance premium. That's like 57% of the comp, okay, came from life, right? And then 41% of it came from securities and investments. And then everything else, all other products, all the ancillary products was 2%. It was like $23 million, $24 million. So what does that tell me? That tells me, like, look, I better be in the recruiting large number business, because that's where all premium comes from. It comes from me going out recruiting a great deal of people and investments too, by the way. And all that other stuff that they coming out with and all that, that's not my game. I know Primerica Financial Services got an army, 135,000 licensed people. I need an army. I got to build an army. And so that's the game that I'm playing.
Well, I noticed that first time in a long time, Glenn never talked about code numbers. Yeah, he might have touched on it, but when he said we recruited 27,000 people in December, which generated 32,000 life apps. You do that math, you're going to get, if you're Primerica, 1.4 life apps per recruit. So anything other than new people coming in, you have no growth, right? I don't care.
That's right.
You can get 10 codes last month and no new people coming in, and you're not going to have any growth. So why is that critical? He said that was the biggest month in years in life apps, not just December, biggest in years.
Wow.
And what is that really telling you?
That's really telling us that, new people, like you said, bring business. New people bring that 1.4 life apps there. And so you should be focused on that. Notice even when they kicked off the January incentive this year, well, the first thing they did was cut the price of the IBA. Why? Not that more people would, jump on it. They just know that we as recruiters would say, oh, it's a deal now. Let's go talk to more people about getting involved. That's going to inspire you to go get more recruits. It's like your belief, it's only $50, right? But it's like your believability goes up to say, I better get to recruiting. It's a deal, $49 right now. They want you to go out there and get that thing going because they know new people drives our business.
Well, James, there's a lot of great speakers on there. Of course, my favorite speakers are, of course, Glenn and Peter. And what did you get out of the company leadership, not the field, but in the home office? And what did it bring to you that inspired you to continue to keep the pace going?
Yeah, Peter's always my favorite. I mean, I enjoy Glenn too, but I always enjoy Peter Snyder, man, because he has this big, broad view of everything, and he brings it down there to home for me. The one thing that just really got to me, Coach, was they showed 16 generations of RVPs within Primerica. There's 16 generations. It's like we got 16th generation, 16 generations deep. And they showed 5 from generation 5 through 12 is where most of the production comes from today. And I remember you sharing with us many times Art's talk. Art talked about building an RVP factory to build RVPs. And if you do this thing correctly, down deep, you have so many RVPs that most of your production and most of your comp would come from that. And the company showing those numbers today just really painted a picture to me of what Art intended and what you have been telling us for years.
I'm not sure I've heard the company in years not talk about code numbers and increasing codes and blah, blah, blah. They just talked about growing the number of people you have. And to me, this is a welcome information because we got a company that's committed to us growing. And the only way we can grow is us grow. So talk about how recruiting now has really, although you've been a great recruiter for years, how now it is at a whole new levels for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's like keeping the main thing. I think, with the company's message being on point in my business and where I am in my career and a few leaders that we have, I just think that, it's coming together where, we are basically duplicating and compounding our recruiting message and belief. And so I'm excited about it. But then too, I think another thing too is the environment. And I think Peter talked about that a lot. Is the environment in today's world. It's always been a ton of uncertainty. But there is more. It's like it's something every 10 years. There's more uncertainty right now. Like nobody in 100 years has seen a global pandemic. All the job situation that kills a great economy and all this other kind of stuff, just uncertain. I just think people right now got their antennas up. They're looking for something different. I mean, more people than ever are, you know, working from home, taking advantage of this. And I just think Primerica is just poised. We're poised to really offer that to Middle America out there, offering a real opportunity with the technology we got to be able to do a Zoom call and do all this other stuff and teach somebody how to build a business from home. It's just like we were just built for this environment if you really, really, really buy into recruiting. If you buy into the recruiting message, I got people on the team in New Jersey I've never met. I'm talking about producers, not just people on the team. You know, people, I had one girl last night, I was meeting with my base shop and she's on the call and I'm like, who, I mean, you know, forgive me, but who are you? Like, I've never met you before. And she's like, oh, my name is such and such. I'm from California, Sacramento. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm going through licensing. I'm like, wow. I mean, you know, so yeah, man, this is like we are pioneers of a new generation, and we're never going back. And the only way you're going to really fully take advantage of that is to recruit and recruit large numbers. The genie has been let out the box or out of the lamp, and it's not going back in. So Zoom is here to stay. The technology is here to stay, and Primerica is poised to take advantage of it. And if you're a builder, the sky is the limit. So.
Oh, James, I got two questions, then we'll let you go. There's one thing that lit my fire more than I can tell you is that fear of missing out. I saw this thing going on in Art and Bobby and Rusty and all these guys getting wealthy, and because my limited thinking, I was going to be left behind, and they weren't slowing down. Right, the company's not going to stand back together.
Yeah, definitely. That is definitely there. You know, I told Elena, I was like, you know, Friday or the first night at the meeting, at the senior leadership meeting there, you know, I was taking a few notes or whatever. And, you know, forgive me for saying this. I thought it was a little dry. And I was like, man, I said, but I'm glad I'm invited though. I'd rather be here. I'd rather be here than not be here. And then, of course, the next day just blew me away. I was super excited about that. But you just got so many. This train is going to move with or without you, and you realize that. And they say when the big dog is running, the big dogs are running. You got to know when to run, and now's the time to run. I know Shanika's on the call. Shanika's running hard. You know, I'm like Shanika and TK and all my friends. They ain't leaving me behind. And I know they feel the same way about me. You know, Steve Coleman and I, we were talking. I called to congratulate him down in Houston, and he just crossed over 400,000. And he said, "Man, you look like you was gonna leave me behind." I was like, "I never thought, man. Hey, the players ain't trying to get left behind right now. Now's the time to go get big."
Well, last word. Give us a final word, James, to leave us. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just, you know, Coach, I appreciate you for having this conversation here. But the thing I would leave you with as far as senior leadership is like, listen, you got to understand that you can be there too, but you gotta buy into what Bill and the Century Club is all about, which is recruiting and recruiting large numbers of people. And you understand that it's a commitment of discipline. You know, it's a disciplined life that you have to live to get your recruiting numbers to where you got to be. And then eventually you find those leaders to see what you've been seeing all along to help you get to where you want to go to. But you know, Primerica is, you know, it is a very, very rewarding company. You know, all your goals and dreams, everything that you want to have happen, you can have happen here, man. But you have to reinvent yourself, and recruiting is the ticket. It makes the playing field level, in my opinion. You may not speak as well as a Mario Arizon or a Bill Orender or somebody like that, but you know, you might not even be as talented. But the thing that just pumps me up is I was like, man, I can go out there and recruit one of those guys at any day. I want you to go out there and find a Mario Arizon and you override them forever. So that's what this thing is all about, man. So go out there and go make it happen for you and your family.
James, thank you very much. Congratulations on earning the right to be on the senior leadership call. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, teammate.
Craig, are you on the call? Is he on there?
Yep.
Hey,
Yeah.
Craig.
Hey, how are you? Happy New Year.
Well, thank you. This is not your first rodeo. for senior leadership. So you have a different perspective because you've had, I don't know how many of these you've been to since
Yeah.
they started. And so give us your perspective on this one and what it means to be part of the leadership of this great company. Talk about that, Craig.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Well, first of all, you know, as many times as Gene and I have been to the senior leadership meeting, you come away with something every time that is different. And you want to make an adjustment here or there. If you go back to 2020 when COVID hit, as all of us did, we kind of retooled everything. I remember vividly canceling all meetings
Yeah.
and just rocking and rolling, and it's been a great thing. We had an explosion at the end of 2020, Bill, that we did over a 20 by 20 base shop because all we were focused on was doing Zoom appointments because that's all we could do. So I canceled every meeting. So that was kind of the backdrop that led me into this 2021 senior leadership meeting. Knowing, and 2020, 20 by 20 is great. I'm not, but I'm not like, hey, let's throw a big party. No, our job, my job is to get is to go get a new base shop that we did literally break a record 100 by 100 and pop 12 more RVPs. And so when I came to this leadership meeting, I get real enthralled by people that have continued to grow and break records. My biggest takeaway, Bill, from this one would be Willie Nerano, because just look at the numbers. Don't look at the emotion. Don't look at the style. Don't look that he's Hispanic. Don't look the fact that he lives in Florida. That means nothing. When a guy not only breaks the 2 million mark, but also the 3 million mark in 12 months, I go, Craig, shut up, sit down, listen. So I probably tuned in more to whatever he shared because I thought whatever the heck he's doing that can go to that level, obviously I can learn from. Now, I love Mika because we did a big thing when Mika broke the $1 million mark 6 years in 1 month, and it was the fastest. Well, as of this morning, it's not the fastest with Carlos Leon. And so I'm looking for people that are ahead of me. How can I get better? So, Bill, if I could, I got 3 slides that I just share my screen if it's all right. And I will throw these 3 out there so everybody can pick the 3 and see what I was, hang on. Oh boy. And forgive me, this is the bad thing about me sharing a screen. All right. Come on. Well, it's only letting me share a whiteboard. I don't know. But anyway, let me pull it up and I'll tell it to you real fast. Here's what Willie said on the first slide. And if I get these, what I'll do is I'll definitely email them to Bill. That way he can send them out to you guys. But here's the first point. Bad players quit the race. Players finish the race. Good players win the race. Best players break records, and legends change the game. Well, that's what Bill Orender's done. He changed the game. Well, that was the first big point that I took back from Willie. Let me give you the second one real quick, and this applies to everybody. He goes, these are his thoughts for 2021. He said, every $1 million earner can work towards $2 million. Every ring wearer can work towards 300 grand, because that's obviously ownership. Every 300 grand, which I'm in that category, can work to 1 million, which is what my plan is. And every RVP can work and make 100 grand a year. So that encompasses literally everybody from A to Z on the call. You're in one of those categories, just like I am. So I'm taking away saying, all right, so if I'm over the $300,000 mark, what can I do to go to $1 million? So Bill, what we did years ago, back in 2012, I just looked at my records. That's all I could do as a base shop. That's all I can control. We did 70 recruits and 49,000 a premium, but that was years ago. So we decided, all right, so in the next 12 months, we're going to go build a 100 by 100 base shop by the end of the year. That's all I can control. I can't control my RVPs. I can't control those that already got the $100,000 ring, if they want to go to 200 or not, but I can control me. I can control the base shop. So what we did is we've canceled every meeting. I only do one op per month and one super Saturday. That's it, with accountability on a Monday morning Zoom, bright and early. And we're going to run that play. So what the senior leadership meeting did for me, Bill, it clarified, yep, I'm thinking right. I'm right on track. I've eliminated everything from my calendar. And I mean everything. When I did this last year, I know people were freaking. In fact, I told Gina, I said, they're going to wonder, they're going to say, are you quitting? Are you retiring? Is Craig pissed off? What's going on? I cleared it. I remember vividly everything. I mean, everything. So we can only focus on the one thing. I want to give kudos, and I want to encourage you guys to keep following Bill, because if it wasn't for Bill, this would not have happened. But on December the 8th, I had a private coaching call with Tommy Newberry, private, an hour and a half. Now, I've been to lots of his meetings. I've read his books. Bill's brought him in to do seminars. I mean, it's been incredible. But I reached out to him, joined a super focused program. Bill already knows all this. And just one day, I go through a mentoring call with him once a month with other, what he calls high achievers. And he called me out on it, shocked me, to be honest with you, and said, Craig, you win my private coaching call. I'll get it set up with my, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Because I was asking him the question, what does a level 8 leader got to do to go to a level 9? That's what Bill's doing right here with the senior leadership meeting. Okay, if I'm a level 8, which means I've already got ownership, but level 9 is $1 million earner. And the reason I call that level 9 is because if I'm at a level 10, there's no other place to go. And until God calls me home, there's always a place that I can get better. That's Bill. There's always a place that he can get better. I don't care what area of your life you're talking about, your business, your health, your marriage, your kids. You're always wanting to, there's always a new place to go. So my question was just, Tommy, what's the difference between a level 8 leader and a level 9? And he confirmed, he goes, it's really not what you do, it's what you stop doing. And I thought, right on track. And I mean, here's what happened. He went through and he said, tell me all the things that you're doing just kind of on a daily basis. And I went through a good routine, get up and have some time with the Lord, connect with Gina and have some coffee, walk the dogs to get some exercise, set 2 or 3 appointments. I went through the whole day. And he had said, have you heard me talk about block days? I go, yeah, it's just been a while. He said, take a piece of paper, write down on the left side, HPA, high payoff activities. He goes, if there's only one activity I was going to tell you to focus on, what would it be? I said, prospecting and setting appointments. I'll always remember what he said, just like this. I'm not embellishing. He goes, yes. So through that call, it confirmed I decided to cancel everything on a Tuesday, Thursday. The reason I'm on this call is because Bill asked me to be on the call. But if he hadn't asked me to be on the call, the only thing Craig does on Tuesday, Thursday is recruit and set appointments and prospect. I cannot kiss my wife and take her to the movie. I can go take the dogs on a walk this afternoon and go to a matinee movie at 3. I can do that, but I do that on a Monday or a Wednesday or Friday. So by getting real clarity and eliminating everything on my calendar, it's confirming how I can go from 300 to $1 million. And that's basically what, the senior leadership meetings, am I on track? Am I doing that? So the last point I want to make real quick before I come back to Bill That's my system. That's not your system. You know, I don't know your meeting schedule, but you've got one. I don't know your days that are high payoff activity days, but you have a week also. You've just got to run your play. And when I learned about what some of the greats that are doing to make a million faster, well, I'd be a dum-dum to not at least try to learn something that can help me make a carburetor adjustment. I don't know this for a fact because I don't know Willie Nerano. So let me go out there on a limb. I heard he doesn't even do an op meeting. Everything is a one-on-one. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but probably pretty reliable sources that people know him have told me that. Now, I don't know if that's his current play or not, but it confirms one point. He's eliminated anything that's unnecessary to get him to go to the next level. You got to do that, and I got to do that. And that's what the senior leadership meeting does. The senior leadership meeting gets everybody like a stud, like a James Watkins and a Bill Orender, and anybody that makes $250,000. And this is basically what Glenn's saying. How can we get a $250,000 earner to go to a $500,000 earner? How can we get a $500,000 earner to go to $1 million earner? How can we get $1 million earner to go to a $2 million earner? Or like Willie, how can we get a $2 million earner to go break a record and go to a $3 million earner? Or how can a Mika Saunders, which goes to a million in 6 years and 1 month, get that record broken by a Carlos Leon that can do it in $1 million in less than 5 years? I'm like, holy crap. Well, here's the answer. Eliminate everything off the calendar. And the only things that go on the calendar are the things that can make you go those leapfrog jumps, like hanging out with Bill Orender. There's nothing better than you can do because he is way ahead of everybody that's on this call. And so you want those guys in your calendar, in your life that you can listen to, but you've got to eliminate all the people, the voices, as Tommy Newberry said, the low payoff activities off your calendar so you can make these leapfrog jumps and be at the next senior leadership meeting in 2022. That would be my tip. So my biggest takeaway, Bill, no question, was Willie, because, okay, if he can jump to 3, then I can learn, and I just embrace that. And if I can get these slides to you, there's only 3 of them. I will definitely do that as soon as we get done on today's call. Back to you, Bill.
Oh, so sorry, I'm freezing up here. One last thing, Craig, before you leave. How does it feel to still have a fire burning in your gut after all these years?
I love it. I love it. And you get this because you have the fire burning. You've motivated me more than probably anybody in all of Primerica from a little kid to where I am today. The big thing for me is that I've asked the Lord this in the past. I'm like, am I like the slowest guy to catch it, to get to me? And I really believe that sometimes God has us go through things longer because the bigger the job, the bigger the preparation. I know I'm $1 million earner, but that's not what's driving me. I want these guys under me now to become $1 million earner. And I got a couple of them I think I can push that way. So there is a fire. I'm 65. I'm not even close to being able to, ride out into the sunset, but I am ready to get to the next level. And it's not just for me to get to $1 million. I want these guys. We're ready. We've got a couple of them, but we're just eliminating. We are so tight. It's just fun. So I would hate to be not having this energy or fire in my belly like a lot of people that are our age, Bill, but not me. In fact, I think we're just getting warmed up. I really think whatever we're going to do in the next few years, we're going to look back, and this is almost, I got to be careful what I'm going to say, but I know we're in a pandemic, and I know there's social unrest. I know there's political crap. I get that. I'm not negating any of that, but as bad as that stuff was, it's forced me to clarify. It's forced me to simplify. And we're starting as a company to explode from that. So we're going to take advantage of it, Bill.
Congratulations, Craig. Excellent, outstanding. Thank you very much, Craig. Shanika.
Yes, I'm here.
I'm not sure how many of these senior leaderships you've been to, but this was different. You're different. You're not the same Shanika as a year ago. So talk about the value in rubbing elbows and being able to, the necessity for 5 hours of meetings to be quiet and not give a meeting, but you had to listen and what are the things that you picked up on?
Oh, to be a student of the business. I enjoyed it. This was actually our first senior leadership meeting. And so I know Karen Hutto, she texted me and she was like, you know, what are your takeaways? And, you know, I told her my takeaway. She said, well, if you have anything that, you know, critical, or she said, you don't have to be so nice. I was like, well, I wish we were in person to really rub elbows. But no, I enjoyed every bit of it. Just hearing and listening to, you know, the senior leaders that spoke. And of course, the main thing that I took away is what James Watkins already talked about. I screenshotted a picture of it because it wasn't in the book, was the growth, the trajectory of the company. And so I was looking for it in the book and I didn't see it. So I screenshotted it because I was like, I want to, you know, just really dissect those numbers and show that it really starts from the head down, but just showing the 16 generations of regional vice presidents. I just wanted to like, wow, this was just the how methodical the training was on showing leading with recruiting.
And like to mention to James, we always got to caution people on wanting to change things. Mm-hmm. And like one guy said, if you have to go back to the fundamentals, where have you been? So talk about that and how you're just going to keep doing what got you here and it'll explode faster because now you've got
people,
tons more people than you had years ago.
Absolutely, 100%. That's all we focus on is recruiting, and we lead with recruiting and we do internal consumption. You know, that's what we train over. So even when we get a new person, they say, well, where the production is going to come from? It's going to come from the recruits. I'm not going to teach you all these sales tactics and all this kind of stuff. Now I'm going to teach you how to build so your production is built in. And that's going to be 100% from recruiting. And now is the prime time to do it because people are open to listen. You know, because of everything that's happening in the world, you have more people that are willing to say yes, that I'm willing to meet because of the uncertainty of job markets and things of like that. No, we're 100% leading with recruiting, and that's not going away. Because the more people you have in place, you know, you when you recruit large numbers, the cream rises to the top. But at the same time, you get to find leaders through tap rooting. And so, but you got to quickly know how to do it. I mean, I recruited someone in October and literally through tap rooting, this team is already a 10 by 10 team. They did like 18 recruits last month, you know, and I just recruited her in October, but it was because of the tap rooting. But you got to know what your focus is on. And so once you know what your focus is on, you can easily obtain any goal you want to get when you focus on recruiting and building.
You know, I've not stopped telling people a double-digit recruit. I've grown weary of it. You know, if you don't want a double-digit recruit, wonderful. If you don't want the light that's on the other side of double-digit, wonderful. But now is the time to stop worrying about why people aren't doing it and how to get them to do it. So talk about that and how you got to be focused on the people that when you look at them in the eye, they're ready to move instead of help me, I need help, don't leave me behind. You're way past that, aren't you?
I'm way past that. Like, I thank God that we plug into Century Club and that Elwood and I both, and he was the one that said, you know, Bill Orender said, don't crockpot people. Like, you got to move with a sense of urgency. You got to recruit 10. And so literally from that moment, when you drew that picture of the fire log and you said you got to set yourself on fire, and that means double-digit recruiting, that image is imprinted in my head. And so that kept me focused on making sure I touch 10. And I don't worry about the ones that say, well, I don't want to recruit. Okay, fine. I don't have to worry about you. Let me move on to the one that's going to follow my lead. And the ones that follow my lead, you'll see the difference. And that's exactly what happens. You see the difference when someone is a recruiter versus someone that's trying to figure out all the different products.
You know, the world is saying, Tanika, look where you came from. And that's dangerous, isn't it? Look where you came from. You look what you're making. Look what you're doing now. That's dangerous, isn't it? And why is it dangerous?
I mean, I'm looking where I'm going, and I'm teaching people how to have a vision and to look where you're going to. Don't fall back into the temptation of being comfortable and, you know, and content, because you think, oh, this is where I came from, so this amount of money is good now because it's more than what I made before. Well, no, how you got to think about what you're going to bless in the end. So you got to keep looking forward, because you can get very content making $30,000 a month. There are so many people that get content making $10,000 a month. You know, I'm like, 10,000 is not enough for me anymore. That's not like, whoo, no, I want to be making 50,000 and more a month. You know, I got to get that consistently. But no, I definitely don't. And that's not saying you're not humble and grateful of where you came from, but you can't think that way, because you got to keep moving forward.
You know, Tommy Newberry says you got to read books, and that you're always going to be one book better than you used to be, or one training thing on goal setting. You're one better than you used to be. And now you're one senior leadership event away from what you used to be. And think about the price, talk about the price that is paid by people missing new levels and not connecting.
Wow. I think there's one of at the end of one of the PowerPoints, it says the pain of regret or the pain of change. And at the end of the day, the pain of regret is so deep that, you know, because if you don't do what it takes to grow, because you see people that have done it and they came in way after you, or the thing is, they took that pain of change, you know, because it's a pain both ways. But I truly believe that pain of regret runs deep, because you're going to always think, you know, I could have, or I should have, I woulda, coulda, shoulda, instead of just doing it, you know, because we're all capable of doing it. We just got to get past our fears and get past our own shortcomings, but we're all capable of doing it. And so that fear of regret, I mean, that, you know, regret is just, that pain of regret is deep.
You know, we had James on a call last Friday, and he talked about how you're going to question yourself 1,000 times. I mean, during the course of the senior leadership, there had to be moments when you said, no way I'm good enough. No way I'm that talented. No, I'm not as good as they are. Talk about how you handle those things, and how that's just what comes with it. When your body is, your mind is saying, back off, slow down, it's not worth it.
There's this picture that I draw with my pen. I talk about, you got to picture yourself in the middle of two rubber bands, right? One rubber band is pushing you back to comfort, and the other rubber band is pushing you to success. So when there's a band there, you got to know, how do I break through this band? Because one of them is going to win. You know, that pain of, you know, going back to the comfort zone, which we all have. We all have this comfort zone that we want to be, you know, that you get pushed back to, but you have to push past that band to get you to your success, to get you to your future. And there's many times, I mean, that I'm thinking, ooh, is this going to happen? And then you kind of say, okay, let me take a step back, because comfort is so easy. Comfort is, and you think, you know, can I do this again? Or this is really true? Like, was it just the pandemic that helped push everything along? And so you got to really train your brain on knowing that you can do this, and this is in your reach, and push past that comfort band, because that band is strong, you know. And so it's really that mind power, the books you're reading, to help you push past that comfort band.
Well, the nice thing that the company does every year is invite folks like yourself to a mind expanding event. You know, a lot of these guys that they've been at this thing for such a long time, it was just something to go to. But for you, how was it life changing?
It was, so I took a couple, it was so exciting to just hear, you know, once again, I wish we were in person, you know, but, you know, and it's neither here or there. But one of the things that I wrote down, I just wrote down some key things because I was in the moment. I wanted to really listen and take it all in. So I only wrote down a couple of things, but one was character over chaos, and knowing that, you know, you grow through the adversity. And so that was the most exciting thing, is that to listen to, you know, that, you know, especially the presentation, it talked about all the different areas that the effect of the pandemic hit, but knowing that through chaos, it kind of creates your character. And I loved listening to that, and how, you know, when leaders lead, everything steps up. And so even in that moment of adversity, when you step up and lead, everything else has no choice but to follow suit. And so I was just excited to be in the moment. Like I said, I took very few notes because I wanted to pay attention to what was being said, and just to be a student in an environment again where you're not the one speaking, you're not the one giving out information, but you're getting your battery charged. And that's what it was. Like literally after senior leadership, I texted my team and I'm like, y'all, it's back in motion, because I was excited. I was pumped up, you know, because my battery got charged. And that's so needed for someone when you're the one always speaking and pouring out, but to get your battery charged and to get you excited, that I love that part of it. My battery got charged.
Well, isn't it interesting? And I'll and on this, if you can, where would you be today if 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you'd been a senior leadership and rubbing elbows with the minds of these great folks that are just 2-3 years ahead of you? So talk about how, Shanika, and end on that if you don't go to things like this, you're losing. You lost out. You just, well, I just didn't make it. I missed. No, you lost out on something that will never be duplicated again. Yes. Or we'll have another one next year, but we won't have this one again.
Yes. And that's truly everything that Primerica puts together. I remember our very first trip that we won, that solidified it for Edward. And we came back and he had a family meeting. Like, your spirit man needs to hear something in that. So you got to be there to hear it, to get you, you know, past your own insecurities or past your own fears. Once again, I soaked it all in. And you got to be there. You know, 2 years ago, we were at this event. I know for sure we'd be well over $1 million, because when you're rubbing elbows and you're listening to $1 million earners, you're going to be the next one. Like you feel it already in your spirit, like we're going to be the next one. And then to have our names put on those that are reaching to the $500,000 mark. Like I was like, and they had, you know, columns. We were in the third column. I think it was like maybe 6 or 7 columns of people that's reaching the $500,000 mark. And I'm like, our name is there. We're like closer on the $500,000 mark than the further, you know, than the other way. So, and then seeing once you reach $500,000, they have who's on track for $1 million earner. So just seeing your name, like that does something. Like that's a part of the praise that Art Williams said. Everybody wants to be somebody. Everybody has a sign on their chest that says, make me feel special, make me feel great. So seeing our name right there, that made me feel special. That made me feel great. So going to these leadership meetings and being around the people that are succeeding and moving, like you have no choice but to move. Like you literally have no choice but to move, because the next one, you don't want to be in the same situation. Like they're expecting you to move. And when you see your name there, you're expecting yourself. Like when you see that name register in your brain, you're expecting yourself to move.
Well, give us a final comment and we'll let you go, Shanika.
Man, this company is just awesome. They really do. They think of everything. You got to follow the system. Like there's a system in place. And just do it. Like, don't think too hard over it. Just do it, because everything's in place for us to succeed. No matter what community you're from, you know, male, female, no matter what, you have the opportunity here to succeed, and to succeed in a big way. to really be an asset to your community, to really be an asset to your family, and to have a legacy long past your lifetime. And so that's what I'm excited about. Like, this company has completely changed our life. And so yeah, it's an amazing thing. You know, in the beginning, you feel like, is it ever going to happen? Is it ever going to happen? But you keep plugging in and recruit your 10 people. Like, literally, not just 10, double-digit recruit, and create double-digit recruiters, and watch your business move.
Well, Shanika, we're proud of you. You're a highlight, not just in Texas, but in the United States, for all of us that have seen you grow from where you were to where you are now. And imagine where you're going to be in 2 years. Worst case, 1 million.
Yes.
Because the math is there. Congratulations to you and Edward and everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday, God willing. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you, Shanika.
Thank you.